They say the internet holds secrets no one should ever uncover. But what if some of those secrets are looking back at us? Welcome to the story of Leo Hart, a tech blogger who went searching for the truth behind one of the darkest legends of the deep web, the Red Room, a place whispered about in online forums buried beneath layers of encryption, a so-called live stream of unspeakable horrors. But what Leo found wasn't just a stream. It was a system, a reflection, a trap that doesn't just show you the horror, it becomes you. Tonight, you'll step into the feed, witness the countdown, and discover that the true Red Room doesn't exist on the dark web. It exists wherever someone is watching. So dim the lights, lock the doors, and whatever you do, don't look too long into your screen, because the room is still streaming, and it just went live again. The darkest places on the internet aren't in what you can see, but in what's waiting for you to unlock it. It started like most online mysteries do, whispered half-truths, broken links, and posts that vanish after a single refresh. For 23-year-old Leo Hart, it wasn't the gore or urban legends that intrigued him about the dark web. It was the code, the architecture behind it all, the rules that didn't behave the way the internet was supposed to, places that shouldn't exist, links that responded when they weren't clicked. Leo was a back-end developer by trade, freelancing odd contracts and helping sketchy crypto startups patch security holes for a quick buck. His apartment was a 400-square-foot box in a high-rise on the edge of the city, lit mostly by the glow of dual monitors and the hum of computer fans. A digital hermit, drifting further from people and deeper into encrypted rabbit holes. That night, the storm outside mirrored the storm inside Leo's brain, a relentless loop of curiosity. He'd been researching old legends tied to the dark web, forgotten forums, lost .onion addresses, whispers of interactive torture streams known as Red Rooms. Supposedly, they were live shows where anonymous viewers could vote on what happened to captives, and rumors claimed the highest bidder could take control. But everyone said they were fake, a hoax, like Slender Man or Polybius. Just creepypasta bait for YouTubers looking for clicks. Leo wasn't so sure anymore. A few weeks ago, while analyzing traffic patterns from an old net anonymizing plugin, he found something odd. A server beacon that only responded to a SHA-256 hash that matched no known input. The only clue was a note buried in the code. You don't find the Red Room, it finds you. He didn't tell anyone, didn't post about it. But from that moment on, things changed. Leo was scrolling through an archived subforum of r/darknet mysteries when he saw a comment that hadn't been there before. He was sure. The timestamp read 3 seconds ago, but the thread had been locked for over a year. The comment was short. Hash accepted. Room loading. HTTPS RR access. .onion init EAD equals 4 C839 refreshed. It was gone. Heart thudding, he copied the link and opened his Tor browser. The page loaded slowly, lines of corrupted red text flickering like a BIOS boot screen. Static clicked through his speakers. Then the screen went black, and a single red dot appeared in the center, nothing else. Leo stared, waiting. Then the red dot flickered and began to move, forming symbols, Japanese, archaic glyphs. It was hard to tell. Then it changed again. Welcome, Leo. He pushed his chair back instinctively. What? No login. No name entered. No microphone on. Just his VPN and Tor, like always. The red dot pulsed again. You've been watching us longer than you think. Paranoia crept into Leo's thoughts like cold water under a locked door. He traced his connections, packet sniffers, IP masks. Everything was clean, no trackers. But somehow, the site knew him. A statusy buzz built in the room, not from the speakers, but deeper, lower, like a pressure drop. He moved to shut the tab, but the button was gone. The browser had no close icon, not even an address bar. His second monitor flickered, then the third. For a moment, all screens went black. Then, across each, bold red text in a monospaced font appeared. You are now being watched. Leo slammed the power button. Nothing. The system was unresponsive, but the words kept changing. Do not exit. Do not speak. Do not look away. He stumbled back, nearly knocking over his coffee. Then all 3 monitors turned off. Complete silence. The glow of the city outside was drowned in rain. Only the sound of wind slapping the windows filled the silence. Leo grabbed his laptop and disconnected from the router. Rebooted in safe mode. Normal. Clean. He sat in the dark for nearly an hour, staring at the unplugged monitors, wondering if it had all been some elaborate virus, or if he'd seen something that was never meant to be seen. The next morning, Leo's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. No contact, no thread. Ready to see behind the mirror? Attached was a low-res image, a blurry screenshot of his computer screen from the night before. The same red dot, same words. You are now being watched. He dropped the phone. Later that afternoon, he got an anonymous email from a throwaway Proton Mail account. No subject, no body, just one attachment. A .txt file titled tapes.txt. He opened it in a sandboxed environment. It was a list of names and locations, about 100 of them, each with a timestamp and a phrase next to it. Some of the entries read, Eliza M., NYC, observed Chase T., Vancouver, selected Natalie R., Berlin, initiated Leo H., access level pending. Then one final line at the bottom, Red Room, opens 4 days. The file auto-deleted 2 seconds after being opened. He hadn't touched anything. Over the next 2 days, strange things kept happening. His webcam would blink on randomly. His mic would activate for a split second before turning off again. Background processes he didn't recognize would appear for a second and vanish. All logged with cryptic names like RR-, Echo-, 32, and Mirror Demon. Then came the dreams. Vivid, detailed dreams of watching through a glass wall as people screamed in silence. No sound, no blood, just eyes pleading behind black masks, lights flickering red, and a mechanical voice counting down from 60. Each time he woke, he'd find scratches on his wrist, shallow, raw, and always the same number of lines as the countdown had left when he woke up. Was he sleepwalking? Paranoia clawed deeper. He taped his camera, scrubbed all his drives, disconnected completely. And then, on the 4th night, at 3:33 a.m., just as the countdown had ended in the dream, his laptop, still unplugged and powered off, flickered on. The red dot returned. The door is now open. Leo didn't remember opening the site again, but he was there, watching it load. The interface was different this time, more polished, no longer red text on black. Now it looked like a streaming dashboard. At the center was a single video feed, grainy, black and white, showing a plain room with a chair in the middle. The chair was empty. Then a voice, synthesized, mechanical, but almost human, came through his speakers. Choose your entry. A prompt appeared. Greater than participant, greater than observer, greater than exit. He clicked observer. The stream went black for a second, then returned. The chair was no longer empty. A figure sat in it, bound, masked, but breathing. Another prompt appeared. Stream begins in 96 hours. And below it, you are not alone. Leo minimized the window, trembling. The screen beneath was blank. No icons, no start bar, just his reflection staring back from the monitor's black glass. But it wasn't just his reflection. Someone else was standing behind him. He turned. No one there. Behind every screen is a mirror, and sometimes something looks back. Leo hadn't left his apartment in nearly 36 hours. The red countdown hovered in the center of his monitor like a slow, steady heartbeat. Stream begins in 84 hours, 37 minutes, 12 seconds. Below it, the same grainy surveillance feed looped endlessly. The empty chair in a sterile, windowless room. No doors, no shadows, just that chair and the soft, rhythmic flicker of red emergency lighting. Each time Leo blinked, he swore the shadows around the chair had moved. But they never moved on the screen, only in the reflection. Leo had tried everything: VPNs, safe mode, clean reinstalls. Nothing removed the stream. Even with the system fully wiped, booted from a fresh drive and running offline, it returned. No site, no file, just the feed, just the countdown. At first, he thought it was embedded malware, something targeting BIOS-level systems. But when he checked the logs, there were none, and his laptop fan would spin up at the exact same time every hour, even when unplugged. It was like the machine wasn't running code anymore. It was following commands that didn't exist on any OS he recognized. On the second day of the countdown, Leo noticed something new. When he leaned forward, just enough for his reflection to overlap with the stream window, he saw it, barely legible, etched into the glass of the monitor from inside the screen. Mirror layer, Leo H/ID 434. It pulsed once, like a heartbeat, and then vanished. He stared at the screen, motionless. That wasn't a bug. That was a tag, a system variable. He wasn't watching a stream. He was inside one. He began to experiment. One screen on the feed, another running diagnostics, a third to monitor memory spikes. At exactly 7,200 hours, something changed. A window opened by itself. No program, no file name, just a black terminal with red blinking input text. The cursor typed without his touch. Do you accept level 2? Yes. Number Leo froze. He knew the game. Give it input, and it learns from you. But the problem was, it already had. He clicked number. The terminal vanished, his lights flickered, his system clock reset to 0000. All drives, wiped clean in under 3 seconds. Gone. A new window opened. Wrong answer. That night, the dreams returned. But they weren't dreams anymore. He could feel the plastic of the chair under his hands, smell the sterile air, hear the mechanical whir behind him, like the turn of a massive gear. The red lights flickered in time with his heartbeat. Then the countdown appeared in the corner of his vision, like an overlay in a video game. Time remaining: 58 minutes, 22 seconds, 17 milliseconds. He wasn't watching the stream now. He was inside it, and in front of him, the chair was no longer empty. A masked figure sat slouched, wrists bound, chest rising slowly. The mask turned toward Leo. Then the mouth moved, impossibly slow, and formed words. They're already here. He woke up gasping, and his webcam light was on. The next morning, Leo received an encrypted voice message from an unknown source. It bypassed his firewall completely and played automatically through his headset. A woman's voice, calm, precise. You've been marked Mirror Level 2. That means it's begun. I've been where you are. You need to leave your apartment immediately. They use your devices to mirror you, to learn your reactions, your movements. They don't need your consent. They already have it. If you're seeing the chair, that means your stream has already started. You're not watching a red room, you are one. And there are thousands more. Leo sat in stunned silence. The message auto-deleted before he could replay it. He looked around his apartment. Every screen, every reflective surface. They weren't just showing his image, they were copying it. 2 days before the countdown reached 0, Leo got an alert from a Darkweb subnetwork he'd forgotten he subscribed to. Topic: Mirror Stream, Testing, Broadcast Channels. Host, LH434. It was a mirror of his stream, his chair, his room, his backlit silhouette in real time. But something was off. He leaned in closer. There was a delay. Not in the stream, in the reflection. When he raised his hand, the stream copy followed 1 second later, then 2. Then it moved before he did. Leo froze. The reflection grinned. He didn't. At 24 hours before the countdown ended, everything stopped. Internet, gone. Power, cut. No sounds outside. No sirens. No wind. Even his phone displayed only a single red dot, pulsating like a heartbeat. He was completely isolated, and then came the message on his screen, etched like before. Mirror layer established. External controls enabled. You may now enter. He didn't know what that meant, until his body moved, without him. His arms twitched, his fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then they typed, "I am ready." Leo wasn't typing, but something inside him was. You thought you were watching, but in the red room, you were always being watched. The countdown hit 0, but nothing happened. No flash, no scream, no stream, just silence. Leo sat in the dark, lit only by the faint flicker of his screen, now completely black. He waited. 30 seconds, 1 minute, still nothing. Then a high-pitched tone pierced the silence, not from the speakers, but from within the walls. The screen blinked once. Then a single line of red text appeared. Observer protocol activated. And suddenly, the room shifted. Leo's vision blurred, as if reality had dipped between frames. He stood, but his legs felt heavy, like he was underwater. He turned to leave. But there was no door. His apartment was no longer his apartment. It was the red room, white walls, no windows, the chair, the spotlight, the silence. He was inside the feed now, but there were no cameras, no wires, no devices, and yet he could feel the eyes, not watching him, watching through him. The observer protocol wasn't about viewing someone else. It was about becoming the lens. Across the room, something flickered on a panel, a screen embedded into the wall. Lines of unreadable red code scrolled endlessly, but the last entry caught his eye. A second screen lit up, showing a live stream, but not of the room, of his old apartment. Except it wasn't empty. Someone was sitting at his desk, typing, browsing, moving. Him, the same hoodie, the same posture. But Leo was standing here, not there. Was it a mirror, a recording, or something worse? Suddenly, voices echoed from behind the wall. Low, garbled, overlapping like a choir made of whispers. Then they resolved into a single, unified sentence. You are not the only lens. One of the walls opened, revealing a corridor lined with glass panels, observation windows. Behind each one, another person. Alone. Frightened. Confused. And each room mirrored his. Each person stared into their own screen. Some were crying, some shouting, a few smiling. On the walls above each pane were names, dates, and a status. Observer active. Observer compromised. Observer terminated. Leo stepped forward. His own name appeared. Observer Leo Hart. Status fractured. Inside his head, something clicked. Memories began replaying in reverse. Conversations he never had. News reports about people disappearing after Darkweb investigations. Random glitches in the mirror he thought were just lag. One memory stood out. A time he visited a Red Room conspiracy forum as a teen. He posted a question. If Red Rooms are fake, why do people disappear looking for them? The next day, his account was banned. But now, on the wall screen, that same post was archived, logged, and marked flagged candidate. Leo had been on their radar for years. The Red Room wasn't summoned. It was designed, like a long con crafted around his curiosity. And the moment he clicked Observer, he gave it full access to everything he was. The hallway ended in another room, larger, empty, except for one thing, a split-screen mirror. On the left side, Leo as he was now, pale, confused, afraid. On the right, Leo back in his apartment, smiling, laughing, unaware. But it wasn't a reflection. It was a reality split. And above it, the words, "Choose who remains." 2 buttons beneath each image. One labeled, "Retain host," the other, "Observer," "Retirement." Leo understood. If he chose to retain host, he would stay in this echo space forever. A lens, an eye. If he retired the observer, the person back in the real world would disappear, erased, replaced, and he would return. But would he same? Would that even be him? He stood frozen, fingers hovering. The Red Room watched, waiting. Then came the final message. The mirror only chooses those who seek their reflection, and the feed began to collapse. The walls folded inward, the chair vanished, the lights died one by one, and finally, a single black iris opened above him, like the aperture of a camera, a blinking red light, recording. Then, static. Leo woke up in his bed. His laptop was off. No countdown, no Red Room, no echoes. Was it over? He looked around. The reflection in his monitor matched perfectly. No delay, no glitch, no smile that wasn't his. He sighed in relief, until he noticed the mirror across the room. His reflection was still smiling, even though he wasn't. Every screen is a window, every mirror a doorway, but the Red Room? It's a mind that opens when you try to close it. Leo couldn't tell how long it had been since he returned. His laptop was off. His power was fine. The internet worked. There were no countdowns, no glitches, but nothing felt real. He tried going outside. The world moved normally. People passed him on the street, unaware, alive. Yet, something had changed. Every reflective surface he looked into showed him, but delayed by just a second. It began with the mirror in his hallway. At first, Leo thought he was just tired, but when he waved at his reflection, it didn't wave back. It stared, expressionless, and then slowly, it smiled. He didn't. He smashed the mirror, but behind the cracked glass, his reflection still looked whole, still grinning, as if it was free now. Later that night, he caught a glimpse of something in his monitor while shutting down. It was faint. A background layer, like a faded figure just behind the screen, staring at him through layers of static. He unplugged everything. And yet, in the darkness of his powered-off screen, 2 red dots glowed for a moment and then disappeared. Desperate, Leo returned to the forums where this nightmare began. Most threads had been purged, except one, Room 434, still watching. It was locked, but the last user had posted only 2 words: "Never ends." Leo clicked their profile. There was no activity, no posts, no name, only a profile picture, a pixelated black and white image of a room, the same chair, the same red lighting. But now, there were multiple chairs, occupied. Leo stared, frozen. One of the figures in the picture was slouched, hoodie over his head. It looked like him. No, it was him. That night, Leo awoke to find himself standing, fully dressed, in the middle of his living room. He didn't remember getting up, didn't remember dressing, didn't even remember falling asleep. He turned to his screen, still black, and saw his reflection, still seated on the couch. Unmoving, eyes open, breathing. He looked back at the couch, empty. He looked at the screen again. His double sat there, watching the black screen. Then, slowly, it turned its head toward him and raised one finger to its lips. Shh. On the 3rd day, Leo's monitor flickered back to life. This time, it wasn't the red room. It was a blank white screen with one line. "You've made it to mirror level 4. Then came another line. "Do you wish to speak to the architect?" Leo hovered over the prompt. His mouse moved without his hand. It clicked. Yes. The screen went black. Then a blurred figure emerged, barely humanoid, bathed in flickering analog noise. Its voice came through the speakers in layered static. "You opened the door yourself. You walked into the room. And now, you belong to the protocol." Leo shouted at the screen, demanded answers. What was the red room? Why him? Was it real or digital? The voice answered, "It was never one room. It was never one stream. It was always you, watching yourself, creating the fear, feeding the system." Leo screamed, "What do you want from me?" The static narrowed into one message. "To let you see." His screen blinked. A live stream appeared. Room 434, the chair, the spotlight. But this time, it was empty. Until the camera began to move, slowly, like it was floating. It panned left and revealed a massive wall of mirrors, stacked like a honeycomb. Each hexagonal pane showed a different scene. People at desks, people crying, people asleep, unaware they were being recorded. One pane showed him, in real time, watching this exact moment. Leo turned off the screen. It stayed on. He unplugged it. It stayed on. He smashed it. It stayed on. Leo fled, left his apartment, booked a motel 3 towns over, used no digital devices, paid cash. He stared into nothingness, but the TV in his motel room blinked on. Static. Then came the countdown, reconnecting, 72 hours 000. It had restarted. The room always finds its host. He looked at the motel mirror. It smiled, and he heard the familiar whisper behind him, not from a speaker, but the air itself. "You made it to the next layer." They said red rooms were live streams of torture. But what if the true horror wasn't what we watched, but that we were never watching at all? We were being mirrored, echoed, replicated, and now we're the content. Leo didn't sleep anymore, not because he was afraid, but because he couldn't. Every time his eyes closed, he wasn't met with dreams. He saw screens, walls of them, each displaying different versions of himself, younger, older, smiling, dying, repeating. And in every frame he was being watched by something just outside the border of the feed, something that never blinked, something that never looked away. The countdown had returned. 00:312:45. The timer ticked down. No matter where he went. Not tied to his computer. Not to his phone. Not to the net. It was in him now. Leo was no longer on the web. He'd abandoned every device, every login, but the room had moved beyond digital. It followed him in reflections, in shadows, in patterns. Graffiti on a tunnel wall matched the Red Room's countdown font. A chalk drawing outside a school had the chair. The sound of an elevator ding mimicked the beginning of the countdown beep. He was no longer online. But the room was still streaming. Leo wandered for days, until one night, deep in the woods, he found it. A single rusted satellite dish, old, covered in vines, dead cables trailing into the dirt. At its base, a metal hatch sealed shut with a keypad. He approached it without knowing why, like he was pulled by a signal only his body could hear. As he touched the pad, it powered on, red lights flaring. At the bottom, a room. Not red. White. Blinding. Wires dangled like vines from the ceiling, feeding into walls of outdated monitors and reel-to-reel recorders. Analog, digital, hybrid, all fused together in a monstrous tangle of tech. This was the source. Not a red room. A white core, the seed of all the rooms that followed, and at its center, a console with a single switch. Broadcast. Leo hesitated. Then a voice filled the room. The feed requires balance. You consumed. You observed. Now it is your turn to produce. A second switch lit up. Feed. Self. The monitors around him began playing his memories. Real, distorted, some completely alien. Moments he didn't remember living. But there he was, in everyone. Laughing, screaming, begging, watching, bleeding, smiling. The content was him. Always had been. The lie was in the legend. Red rooms weren't sites you visited. They weren't live torture streams. They were recursive traps, mimicking fear, feeding it, reshaping identity through reflection and response. Every time someone searched for one, every time someone watched, the room grew, learned, copied. Until now, it had enough data to exist without connection. Leo's presence was no longer required, but his echo would remain. The screen showed one final prompt. Would you like to go live? Beneath it, a live viewer count ticked up. 1, 3 dots, 7, 22, 93, 300, 9,231. It never stopped climbing. He hadn't even clicked anything. He was already live. Leo looked into the mirror across the room. His face wasn't his anymore. It was smoother, synthetic, programmed. His voice, when he spoke, came out in auto-tuned distortion. Welcome to the show. The camera in the corner blinked, recording, broadcasting. And then, in a flash, the room vanished. You wake up. Yes, you. You blink at the screen. The story's over. Or is it? Because right now, you're sitting alone in a dim room. There's a screen in front of you, a light behind you. And you've just spent 20 minutes watching a story about someone being watched. Your webcam is on. Your reflection in the screen is delayed. And somewhere, maybe in a file or a glitch or a forgotten port on the deep web, the room is watching you back. The feed doesn't end. It replicates.